Morning, team. I know it's a Friday night, but I'm coming live to give you value. And I want to go through a bit of a post I done earlier today where I give you a little snapshot of how to eat out healthily. So you can still eat out, enjoy food. This is not about guilt tripping, about you missing out, but I just want to give you keywords and go a bit more into detail so you understand the choices you can make when you're eating out. So you're not eating things that maybe going to feel like you've gone off track, you're getting away from your goals. How on earth are you ever meant to lose weight when you've got these social things happening? And it's so you don't end up saying no to social things because you're like, oh, I don't know what I want to have. And also, because you can make wise choices when you go out and eat. And it's not about saying, oh, I can't do it, can't lose weight, I'm never going to do it. Or just going, oh, sod it, I'll have the triple burger, might as well because I've blown it anyway. Because you're looking at that menu, you're not sure what to do. And yes, some menus now have calories on them for the big chains, but not all do. And even that can influence your choices, yes. But that's for the big change. I can't remember how many employees someone's going to have that they have to print the calories on the menu, but it doesn't break down all the different things in terms of what makes one thing better than the other. So I want to go through that because I'm all about educating you and giving you the knowledge so you can make informed choices. That's what I'm all about. All right, team. Remember hashtag replay if you're watching on the replay, and if you've got any questions, give me a shout. I know it might be like she's talking about being healthy, eating healthy, and she says that she's got a cold. Yes, I have. My husband he called it plain flu last weekend after coming back from Canada. I said to him today, "You've given me your plain flu," and he's like, "Nope, nope, fake news. It wasn't me. It was a wound surgeon in the co-op." I was like, "What? No way, no danger. You've given me it." So yeah, a bit sniffly, a little bit blocked up, but it's all good. My lighting's still a bit dodging here, but hey ho. All right, let's get into it because I imagine if you're maybe eating out right now as I'm talking to you, if you're catching me on the replay, you might be out. And if not, you're at home and you might be cozying up thinking about getting a takeaway, or maybe that's your thing tomorrow or Sunday, who knows? And I believe Monday in Scotland, I don't know in England as well, but I believe in general in the UK it's an in-service day. The schools are off again. So it might be the fact you're away eating out with the family. So let's go over this then. So one of the things about eating out is looking at keywords in terms of how the food's cooked, what is it made up of, and what does that mean in terms of calories, but also in terms of fats, salts, and sugars and things like that overall. Now, I would say across the piece, wherever I'm going to pull out some healthy words and some caution words, things to watch out for. But either way, I would say with all restaurant food we eat out, it's going to be super salty. So try to resist adding extra salt to your food because it'll already be super seasoned. And the reason I say that is one is females. Heart health is the biggest killer for females, above breast cancer. But nobody really talks about it until they discover they've got a heart issue, and then they're told to reduce salt. So if you're eating out, it's going to be super salty anyway. So always think about, you know what I'm going to say, grabbing the water to rehydrate. This is going to help counteract water retention as a result of eating more salt than you would do normally. It's also going to help you in terms of regulating how much of the other stuff you drink, i.e. alcohol. Because obviously if food's saltier, you're going to be thirsty, crave more liquid. So the chances are you're going to drink more wine, whatever your thing may be. So try and make sure you're having water throughout because of the salty food. And it'll also help with the post eat out bloat, as I call it. And eat out bloat might be like, oh, I've had such a big meal, I'm so fat, oh, I've had so much to eat, all the pasta, the carbs. But actually, I reckon around 60 to 70% of that is probably the salt bloat. I know myself, I've gone out and enjoyed a meal and it's not been excessive. I've been nicely full, but not like stuffed. The salt bloat can be real, and I've seen it in clients. I've seen it in clients who go out and eat and their weight shoots up, and it takes about 2 or 3 days for it to calm down. So salt across the piece, whether it's the healthy words or the caution words, there's going to be a lot of salt in that food. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into the healthy words. So what are the healthy words? So we're talking about how food is cooked. So obviously grilled and steamed is going to be healthier than fried, right? Bit of a no-brainer. But typically it's got lower added fats compared to the fried options because obviously the oil and the fat and that oil that things are fried in is absorbed into the food. So grilled or steamed is obviously a winner there. And then you want to look at lean proteins. And what I mean by that, again, is kind of like words around how the food is cooked. So if you think grilled chicken is going to be healthier than fried chicken. If you think baked fish, it's going to be healthier than fried fish. And then the next thing is to think about seasonality. And I know you might think about, you might do some home shopping trying to get seasonal produce. It's the same when you're in the restaurants. If something's described as fresh or seasonal, often it'll be minimally processed ingredients because actually it's fresh, seasonal, means it's full of flavour. So there's not an awful lot to go to do to it to bring out the natural flavour. And then salads can be healthy options, but you're going to have a bit of a caution with salad because you're going to watch out for the high calorie toppings. I'm noticing in the UK a lot more blue cheese is coming into play. Things like creamy dressings, cheese, any fried toppings like croutons. So try and opt for salads with like lean proteins, lots of veg, a vinaigrette opposed to a creamy sauce. I think vinaigrette opposed to creamy, which is going to be less calories. And then we're talking about whole grains, so things like brown rice, quinoa, whole wheat pasta, going to add fiber and nutrients. Now, I know typically it's a bit harder to get brown rice and whole wheat pasta in dishes. Very few tend to have that, but quinoa is obviously with salads, you can find that in quite a lot of salad dishes. So that's a positive in terms of giving you fiber. And I mentioned about the salt and the bloat. There's not very many places that will advertise low sodium. There was a chain that was advertising how healthy their meals are and giving a nutritional breakdown for the calories and stuff. And I kind of challenged them on that and said, what about your salt content? And they dinged me and didn't come back. And there are Vietnamese restaurants, so they're going to add fish sauce. There'll be lots of salt in their broths and things. So yeah, it's that thing you can look at overall calories when they print it. They might be shouting out that they're healthy, but what's the salt content? Who knows? But you know, it's that thing you're going out to eat, so you're not going to be able to control everything. But I'm just giving you some clues in terms of what to look for so you can make the best possible choice for you and still enjoy your meal. Obviously, vegetarian, vegan options often include a variety of fruit, veg, and grains, which you think would make them naturally healthier choices, but I'd always caution, especially on the vegan stuff. A lot of vegan stuff is fried. We used to have where we lived a vegan restaurant on our street, and it just smelled like a chippy. Everything was fried. And I would say a lot of vegan food is ultra processed foods. So just have a note of caution about actually how healthy is that thing? What is it made of? What is the alternative? And is it actually healthier for me? And then in terms of other foods to like words to look for in the menu, light or fresh is always a positive. Again, contain fresher foods, minimal processed ingredients. And things like broth-based or tomato-based dishes from broths or tomato-based tend to be lower in calories compared to a cream-based sauce. Again, probably higher in salt, but in terms of the overall calories will be less than a creamy sauce because it's a natural broth. Remember, these keywords are kind of to help you identify the healthier options, but also look at the portion size and think about the cooking methods. So I've mentioned about fried versus baked too. Okay, so if you want to know the caution words, the ones that you want to be like, not too keen on that, that's not the healthiest. I just mentioned fried or deep fried. Okay, so fried or deep fried, as I mentioned before, oil is going to serve into the fat. So start again. Oil is going to be absorbed into the food, so that fat is going to go into the food, and that's what makes it unhealthier. And as much as some of it will be drained off with, say, like a bit of kitchen roll or something like that, it's going to be unhealthy oils, and it's likely to be high in calories and unhealthy fats. So try and avoid the fried or deep fried stuff. And that's why salads, I just mentioned, things like when it says crispy, what is that crispy element? If it's croutons, ultimately that's fried bread. Okay, so that's where your extra calories come in. You're like, Julie, but I like the crunch. I know, I appreciate that, but you know, vegetables have a crunch too. But it's looking at what's the options for you and what's best. Creamy or Alfredo. So again, I mentioned about creamier sauces are high saturated fat, calories due to heavy cream, cheese, butter, all these things that you're going, but they're the tasty bits, Julie. But we can enjoy our food without all these additions. We've just got to retrain our minds and our taste buds as well. I was speaking with a client earlier today about like the added salt factor, and it's such a habit, and we're so told that you've got to have these things with flavor, but actually you don't. It's just we're told that we need them and they feel a bit more luxurious. So it's a bit of a marketing ploy too. And then in terms of our words that appear on menus nowadays, become quite Americanized in some of the wordings. Things like smothered or loaded, you know, it's going to be heavy sauce, heavy cheese, high in calorie toppings because it's smothered and it's loaded. So it feels like, oh, this is going to be a big feast, right? Luxurious feast, abundance, and make you want to buy it. I also mentioned about crispy or crunchy, so often that involves fried things. As I mentioned, the croutons could also be fried onion on top, which is basically added fats and calories. And then I mentioned at the very start about double or triple. So anything when you're going to double your portion, you're going to triple it. Ultimately, what you're saying is, give me excess calories and fats. And extra cheese, extra sauce, again, you're adding extra calories. So when you see the word extra or double or triple, that's exactly what you're doing with the fats and the calories. You're adding double, triple, just think of it that way, extra calories. So when you see these words, just think extra calories, doubling the calories, tripling the calories, because that's ultimately what's happening. And bacon or sausage, again, they can add flavour to your dishes. Sometimes it can be in salad. Chorizo is the one that you always see everywhere. Personally, not a fan of chorizo. I don't enjoy it. But I think as well because it is fat. It's fat and salt in a sausage. That's what chorizo is, but it's a posh fatty sausage. So again, extra calories, extra fat. Anything that's loaded with butter or cream are likely to be unhealthy in fat and calories too. And again, anything where you're supersizing, going big, going giant, going jumbo, it is all extra calories. Now, one thing I'd say as well is don't hesitate to ask the person that's serving you to make changes to the meal. So if you're like, oh, I really like that salad and it says got croutons, so ask them, can I have it without croutons? Could you chuck a chicken breast in there? And sometimes people are a bit afraid to do that, especially in the UK. I was at dinner recently with a guy from New York, and he was not afraid of saying, could I have that? I don't really want my meal. This was like a set menu ordered beforehand. I want that. I don't want what I've got. And of course, they obliged to it. And I also know of someone who went out and asked for the salad without the croutons. And as I just said, can you add in some chicken with that? And they were happy to do that. I think it's about choosing healthy options that work for you. And I'm not saying you're restricting yourself, but going actually, what works for me, what's going to give me energy, what's going to fuel me, what's going to help me with my health goals. At the end of the day, if you're a vegan and walked into a restaurant, you wouldn't say, oh, I'll just have the beef burger, because you don't want to upset anyone or put someone out. So it's that whole thing about going, actually, what can I have? What am I going to enjoy? And make that decision. What works best for you? That's the key. If you just want to have that thing, if you want to have the double burger, go for it. It's all about making the options that work for you. Excuse me. So yeah, they are the key words. If you want that written down in a guide, DM me healthy eating and I will send that to you. But that is me for this evening. I shall catch you all next week. Any questions, drop in my DM. You want that in words, then DM me healthy and I'll send you that free essential guide on eating out. And I shall catch you all next week. And if you are eating out, you just want to go for it, just remember, drink the water to combat the salt. Take care, team.